Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I will definitely take your permission to start the next session for sure. I will do that. But this dynamic era of logistics, as we talk about, these leaders are actually playing a very, very pivotal role. They're also driving innovation, they're fostering inclusive cultures, and at the same time, they're shaping the future of the industry. They are the true trailblazers in a traditionally male-dominated spaces. We will give into that, but it's time to hear from the Sheroes. Most importantly, it's not just about hearing as to how did they traverse this journey. It's actually time to also hear as to what are the unique perspectives that they can offer, what are the unique strategies that they can offer, and how they are going about inspiring change and bringing about smiles in people like me. You know, I myself standing over here, I'm mighty inspired. That being said, what we're going to do is bring on board our speakers. We also have our session moderator who will be spearheading the session. This is going to be a fireside chat because it's a feisty topic in itself. So yes, looks like we're all set. First up, let me please invite our session moderator. We have with us Abhishek Ghosh, Partner Supply Chain Transformation, PwC. If I could please invite Mr. Abhishek Ghosh to please come on stage, sir. I only see this table come up with a round of applause. It's our finale session, and Abhishek has a mighty task of actually getting us all inspired over here with some amazing stories, amazing journeys. So on that note, let me go ahead and invite our speakers. First up, we have with us Ipsita Das, Head Procurement, Kimberly Clark, India. And we also have with us Pallavi Chaudhuri, Procurement Services Director, Perfetti. Yes, sir. Well, I'm ready to learn more. I'm ready to absorb more as well. With that, let the session begin, and let me quickly hand over the proceedings to Mr. Abhishek Ghosh. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I think we're by the fag end of the day, but I think this is a very interesting session where, from traditional topics, we are shifting a bit, and the way the topic suggests, it is about Sheroes. And if you see, we have typically in the industry, we have seen it's a kind of a male-dominated space, specifically in the supply chain, or, when you look at in the logistics areas. But these women have led from the front. They have brought all those changes, which actually inspired a huge amount of people across the world. So in their own space, they are already the leaders. We'd like to hear from them about their own perspectives about different areas of supply chain, focusing on logistics. So welcome Ipsita, welcome Pallavi. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Abhishek. Thanks, ET also for having us around for a session like this. Yeah.
So I think, challenging status quo or bringing innovation are, part of everybody's job nowadays. But I think what is more important is to bring inclusiveness and inspiring others, which I think both Pallavi and Ipsita have done over the years. What we'd like to understand more today is to get a perspective about the current challenges of geopolitics or the social challenges, whatever we are getting, which are impacting, supply chain as a whole. How, have you been, navigating these difficult phases over the years, and what are the future challenges, what you foresee are some of the topics which we'd like to touch upon in today's discussion. And please be very, I would, love to hear from a, woman's standpoint, what additional responsibilities or changes you have to bring in to make things better. So these are certain things I'm sure the audience will also be interested to know. I'll start first with Ipsita. Logistics plays an important role in the overall supply chain space. What kind of innovation you have introduced to keep your business resilient over the time, specifically, during the COVID times, and post that with all our, newer challenges of be it a Red Sea challenge or be it a, supply disruption because of, different aspects of wars and others. So what are the, kind of innovations which you have brought in to make things work and make things better for your company?
Sure. So this is a topic, Abhishek, and we've been discussing on this off screen also, that this is a very, very passionate topic. And what I'm going to say today will also, I'll try and touch upon that what is the larger agenda that we have in mind. So when we talk of, your question was on COVID and post-COVID, right? So while we say that the pandemic is over, but one of the biggest challenges that we have seen in the logistics space, which is continuing even till date, is actually on the ocean freight disruptions. Be it the geopolitical situation because of the Russia-Ukraine war or the Red Sea challenges, we are all faced with situations where we have seen increased lead times, no container availabilities, 5 times, 3 times the cost that used to be before COVID. And given that, we are a manufacturing company serving directly to the consumers, whatever cost we incur, it's not possible to pass on to the consumers directly. So what is it that we have thought differently? It's a very simple logic. It is looking at localization of materials. So instead of getting all materials from imported sources, how can we develop them locally? Now that also brings in the larger agenda of driving the programs of Made in India. So we are one of those organizations who have been involved in not only identifying the sources or the suppliers, but also helping in their capability building so that they are able to supply to companies like us based in India as well as start exporting. And if I just have to quote a number, maybe over the last 5-6 years, it's been a journey. And it has moved from probably 0% to as high as almost 50-55% of materials that we are buying from India. And what are the benefits that we get from it? We get competitive advantage for the business. We get lower lead times, which means lower inventory holding, which means better working capital and cash flow management. So I think this is a kind of innovation. And to touch upon the theme of today's session, it is also linked with sustainability and how this is getting sustained over the years. These are not one-time or two-time manufacturers, who have just manufactured just for the heck of having it for a couple of years and then off gone. It's continuing. And that is where I think that today India is in a much stronger position. So does that help understand your question?
No, absolutely, Ipsita. And, it's very interesting to know that, for alternate source of supply, you have gone for local manufacturing. So that had given you an opportunity to build the capability here, whereby you have taken it to, the export route as well. Yes. I mean, it's another business opportunity. So logistics challenges actually created some business opportunities for you as well.
Correct.
So
this is also linked because what we face today is that we almost hear from everywhere that, containers are doing long hauls and they don't want to move around the intra-Asia, and that's why the India lane is always under pressure, right? Whether it is coming from China or Vietnam or Malaysia. So the moment we also try and build that capability in our country and we help them export, then there is a return load or going back load that we are looking at. So that also helps in the container availability space going forward.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ipsita. I'll move to Pallavi. So Pallavi, we have seen, huge amount of disruption in the last few years in supply chain, in logistics, all the areas. What do you think are the key drivers which has, kept you moving, kept you growing over the years?
Thanks for the question. I think I'll take a slightly different take. Ipsita, you're talking about the challenges within India. I would look at the global side because that's the role I am dealing with today. So what we started off when the pandemic hit, the first thing which was started are more firefighting calls. On a weekly basis, we used to meet as a team and figure out category by category, country by country, where are things not getting delivered. So at first it was more of let's transfer from here to there, just to keep the plants running. But what evolved out of it was more of a change management within the organization. So one, I think as an organization, you always feel that this is a very specific item or specification which cannot be replaced. So first thing which we did was to find out what are the alternate specifications. We actually put down a method to easily identify replaceable items. Second, there was a long lead time to evaluate alternate vendors. Again, there was a lot of control. Let's say this is very difficult. You can supply something only from Italy and not from Bangladesh. So those, I would say, silos and mental thinking blocks were removed, and that actually helped the organization in the long term. So these were quick fixes, but I think what also was done is that we put together a strong risk management process, which at that time was looking more internally. So we started analyzing our data, sales data, finding out which are the key drivers of sales, and figuring out of these which are the single source items which could significantly hit our sales. And then we meticulously started figuring out projects critical to ensure single supply situations were eliminated. And this was, very, very meticulous. We would track those projects, and today, I think we are down by 60% in terms of single supply situations globally. So that's a huge benefiting in the longer term. The other thing which also came out was that there was not much visibility, and there was a lot of, the demand volatility was less. So you, at the end of the month, or even after 3 months, you would know, okay, this is the demand, you would do a coverage, and maybe at the last minute figure out the coverage is not less, and there would some firefighting would be done. So after that, a method was put down that every month, or even faster, you would have a very transparent process to communicate the demand requirements, and then have a meticulous coverage report. So, procurement can be more proactive to ensure that contracts are made and supplies are ensured. So I think these are organizational changes which are triggered because of that, and that has, I would say, served us in the longer term, because I don't think the volatility is going anywhere. It's only going to increase from now on. So, yeah.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Pallavi. I think you touched upon the change management and bringing the risk profiling and overall risk management of logistics. Also, the KPI-driven working, I think, which is going to stay for everybody with whatever technologies come into play, but these are the things which has to be there. I think these are good takeaways from your, answer. And for the interest of time, the clock is ticking, I understand. Maybe one last question, but very quickly, first with maybe Pallavi, as per you, technology plays a major role in all the functions across industry. So in this supply chain space, in the logistics area, what do you think? Going forward, how technology is going to play a role?
I think given just we have a minute, maybe I'll touch upon quickly. Broadly, you can categorize the risks into two parts. One is internal and second is external. If you look at internal, I think the ones which I talked about, these are all, let's say, quick access to data, integrate business planning, so that you can take action as fast as possible. So that's something which is there happening. The other part is external. I think like the political situations, geopolitical risks, regulatory problems, financial failures on suppliers. I think there are a lot of technology, AI-based platforms which kind of scout the internet and then give you information on possible risks. So you can actually marry that data. On top of that, let's look at sustainability, right? You have organizations who are scanning or using satellite imagery to see how good is the crop cover, how good is the canopy cover. Are there chances of, let's say, raw material resourcing problems? So all of that can be plugged together, and then it can help the organization take much better and timely, let's say, buying decisions or even sourcing decisions for that matter.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks, Pallavi. With the permission from the organization, maybe a couple of more minutes to hear Ipsita's perspective on, what kind of disruptions or challenges you can expect in the coming years, specifically in this space.
So I think in the procurement, supply chain and logistics space, the availability of containers until and unless there is more supply base or capacity created, that is something that is going to continue if we look at it across borders outside India. Within India and the logistics space, I will probably touch upon, it may not be a disruption, but it is something as a watch out, which would be with the government norms in terms of sustainability and in terms of pollution emission and in terms of environmental norms becoming much, much more stringent. How can we manage the life of the trucks and the vehicles that we use efficiently over the next few years will be something to watch out for going forward.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks, Ipsita. I think you touched upon both efficiency and sustainability, which will be the challenges to manage. And leaders like you, I think, will bring in fresh perspective to handle those kind of challenges. So thanks for that. I think, some of the data points, 25% of the logistic KPIs by Gartner is saying will be managed by GenAI going forward. That is not too far. By maybe 2028, it will come into play. Similarly, by 26, global enterprises are going to have logistics risk management as a function also. So these are some of the data points which I think gives more responsibility to the leaders to think how differently we can address the challenges. So thank you very much, panel, Ipsita and Pallavi, for your insights. I hope, the audience also enjoyed the session. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thanks a lot indeed to our speakers. I'm going to request you to please remain on stage. If I could please invite Dr. Venkatesan N, Director and Chief Procurement Officer, Max Healthcare Group, to please come on stage, sir. And if I could please request you to present a token of gratitude to all of our speakers. I'm going to request you all to please come together for a group photograph. If I could please request you to step forward, all of you, to please step forward for a group photograph, please. Yeah.